Hi folks, as promised, we are going to be doing a comparison today of the ProCo FatRat and the Joyo Splinter in the ambiguous pedal box. So without any further ado, let's move straight on to the unboxing. Alright, let's first start with the ProCo FatRat. This guy is in a big, beefy box. Comes protected, and inside is the lovely heavy FatRat. Here's your ins and outs, 9 volt to 18 volt DC, nice feet, and battery compartment along with serial number and product name. Made in the USA. Also in the package here real quick is the online registration card, the how to get a rat t-shirt, and user manual. Very tiny, but does the trick. It's more like features and tips. And that is it for the FatRat. Moving on to the Joyo Splinter pedal. This one also is fairly well protected. Comes in its own bubble wrap as opposed to foam. Different layout a little bit on the controls, but very similar functions. You've got your in and your out on opposite sides, and your DC jack recessed, square jack, round hole. Gotta love it. And LEDs kind of hiding in that little hole there next to the foot switch. Again though, you got some good grippy surface and your 9 volt access. And I almost missed it, but here is the owner manual for the Splinter. English on one side and presumably Chinese on the other, although I dropped it. There we go. I believe Chinese on the other. And that's it. No registration or t-shirt offer, but that's okay. Alright, now for the insides. First we have the FatRat, which I've already taken the back off of here. And I'm sure you can see the components are of decent quality. I apologize if the focus is a bit out, but the pots are huge. It's definitely assembled by hand. Can be told by the wiring pretty easily. The casing is nice and thick. The only thing I don't like about it is that the screws that hold the front and back together are these self-tapping metal screws. Again, I don't think the focus is going to happen, but they're self-tappers, so if you disassemble it and reassemble it enough times, when it goes back into the main housing, eventually it is not going to grip. You will strip it out at some point. This one looks here, let's see, it was load and quality control and final tested June of 2022 and initialed by all the folks involved who built this one. Again, good quality, everything appears to be nice on this. Just beware those self-tapper screws in the back. Now for the Joyo Splinter, their version of the FatRat. This one, can't really see the components, sadly. They're all under that board facing the opposite direction. From what I can see, the switch is of the foot switch is of high caliber. It's on a board with a little ribbon connector going to the main board. A couple little surface mount resistors on the foot switch board, which makes me wonder how many surface mount components might be hiding underneath the main board, but it looks like most of them are through holes, so it would be repairable if necessary. The pots, they're a lot smaller and they are square. I can see that much hiding underneath the rim. Again, I don't want to disassemble this just yet. And then yeah, there's that funny square DC jack going through the round hole, or hiding behind it rather. What can you do? And the plastic enclosed input and output jacks. Yeah, I think that's it for the inside. Got the serial number on the bottom. No sort of quality control sticker, signatures, anything like that, but you don't expect much. coming from an import pedal. But the silk screen or water slide, whatever they got in here, is really nice quality, so I'll give them that. And the screws that hold the back on are nice, I'm assuming metric machine screws, so they will always go in to these threaded posts in the corner of the housing. So you can take this apart and put it back together as many times as you want. You will not strip those out. Real quick, throw this in before I get this FatRat sealed back up here, the actual FatRat. The 9-volt clip is just kind of hanging out in here. And on the back end, unless you have a 9-volt battery in there, this has nowhere to sit. So it's going to be flopping all over, which could be bad if it decides to make contact with anything conductive in here and you start shorting out your ground or positive 9-volt terminals to some part of the circuit. Not a fan of that. I would recommend putting maybe some heat shrink or something else non-conductive over that. Save yourself the headache if you're not using any 9 volts, or tape it to the clip here with some electrical tape so it won't go anywhere, and be doing that. The inside of the Joyo Splinter is kind of similar. It does have one piece of foam that keeps it from touching the housing here on the sides and on the back, but again, the clip is just sitting in here exposed, so it could come in here and maybe touch the foot switch pins or the sides of the input or output jacks. Those are the only contact points it could touch, but again, same problem. I would highly recommend positioning these in such a way that they will not make contact when you're playing. Okay, moving on to the test finally. Alright folks, now for the time of the video where you realize I don't know how to make videos. This might be sideways, it might be upside down. What do I know? But I know that I can play a little guitar. Sometimes in tune, sometimes not. So, I got both of the pedals lined up at 12 o'clock. Both of the switches on both of the pedals lined up to the stock positions. And we're going to see what kind of differences we have. I am on my, not a Fender Stratocaster with lace sensors. And they're pretty hot, so I'm going to be playing, let's see. Put it in the middle position and get the nice cleanest tone we can on it. And let's just start with a little bit of low E droning and see the difference. So off the bat, I can tell you that the Joyo Splinter has a little bit more bottom end in the completely neutral positions. Won't say anything about the extremes yet because we're not there and I haven't even tried it yet. You're witnessing this in real time as I am as well. So a little bit more bottom end on the Joyo than the FatRat in the 12 o'clock positions. But otherwise the gain, the clipping sounds very similar. Hard to audibly hear any difference. So let's turn these both to the 3 o'clock position, or 9 o'clock, depending if you're looking at it upside down or not like I am. And let's see what difference we have. Again, we'll just go with the droning E for now. Same thing. So let's hear a few chords ringing out, see what it sounds like. Okay, so just the tiniest bit more fat, little bottom end on the Joyo when it's on like for like settings. Now let's go with the, let's bring the gain all the way up the other way. We'll go about 3/4 this way. definitely a little bit of difference, but again, they sound good. So far, so good. I'm liking them both. Let's switch these positions both in. So now we're on MOSFET instead of stock and FAT instead of stock. Neither one's particularly quiet. We got a hum all over the place, but part of that's just where I'm standing, so don't mind that. It could be the power supply, it could be where I'm standing. It's definitely not one or the other of these. Let's bring this guy all the way over as well and see what difference we hear. Just a droning A for you, just so you can hear something a little different than the E's. Again, that really, let's go to the extremes. Let's give it all the distortion and none of the filter, equal volumes, and again, we're going MOSFET FAT on both. Let's see where we're at. They are pretty darn close. And the difference between a couple $100 versus $30-some, depending on the day of the week, I can barely tell the difference. I know that it's subtle, it's there. It's like the difference if you're listening to go against the video we saw earlier today, the AX7s versus the 86 tubes. Yeah, most of it's in the EQ, most of it's in the how much gain and the order things, but they don't sound too terribly different. They are really, really close here. I defy you to tell me the difference between these two blind. If you weren't looking at them, someone else was setting them up, going back and forth, and not telling you which one's doing which, I don't think you could tell me the difference. At least not in these settings we're using. Well, that's so muddy. And yeah, never turn the filter all the way clockwise on a rat. Just don't do it. So let's go this way, and let's take off the FAT, but leave the MOSFET, and here's some differences here. Let's give the FAT back, but go back to the stock away from the MOSFET. Again, we're just right there the whole time. There is so little difference. Let's bring the distortion all the way down. I guess you can't really do that, can you? Not on a rat. Let's find a good breakup point to start this. That's where it starts coming in. neck and neck, guys, neck and neck. Hang on a minute, we'll get to the conclusion. All right, folks, that wraps up my first silly YouTube video, because I'm not a YouTuber, obviously. Gray hair will give it away. But I could play guitar, took it easy today, didn't want to, hit any copyrights. But we went through the ProCo FatRat and the Joyo Splinter. And you know what? They are really close. A blind test, I would defy you to tell me the difference. If I played them both for a couple months, maybe I'll find some nuances, but out of the box, man, as much as I love ProCo and I respect the company and they're really great at what they do, I don't know if I would say that the $200 price tag versus the 30-something for the Joyo is that much more worth it. Yes, you get a better warranty. You get customer service, at least to some degree. The pedal's definitely going to be more durable in the long run. But if all you need is something for some sound, especially if you're not gigging every week, there is nothing wrong with that Joyo Splinter. And in fact, I like them both so much, I'm going to keep them both. They're both going in my pedal chain now. And I'll put one early on, maybe even before the wah, before the EQs, and I'll put the other one much later on, maybe something that my tube screamer can drive into. And I'll just have the flexibility because, hey, for this price, I'd say get 5 of those Joyos or something, put them all on the board, set them all different, have a blast. Or one of each, and you got the best of both worlds. Have a great one, folks. Rock on.